everybody, thanks for stopping in. The other day my wife made a cheesecake for Thanksgiving and she used one of these 6-ounce Keebler graham cracker crusts, and she was saying the last time she's baked cheesecakes in the oven they didn't turn out real good. So I said, why don't you use the toaster oven? And she said, are you sure? I'm like, well, I am the toaster oven king. I'm pretty sure it'll turn out. So it turned out good. So we have one more of these crusts and I'm going to try my own version of one. So let's get toasting. I found a recipe online that was kind of geared towards using one of these Keebler pie crusts, but I'm kind of changing it up a bit. So what the ingredients are 2 eggs, which I've already put in the bowl, 2 8-ounce blocks of cream cheese, letting these sit on the counter to kind of warm up a bit. Now, in the recipe it said to separate the eggs and beat them separate with a mixer, and my wife did it that way the other day, but I don't know if it made that much difference, and I want to simplify this, so I'm just putting them in whole like that. Also, 1/2 a cup of just regular sugar, and I think it called for like a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla, but my wife said she really likes it and she put a whole tablespoon. So I'm just going to use 1/2 tablespoon of vanilla. And it also called for some lemon juice. Now my wife didn't add that, and I think it said maybe a tablespoon. I'm just going to go with a 1/2 tablespoon of vanilla. So it'll be equal parts vanilla and lemon juice, and we'll see how that turns out. Now I have to open up the cream cheese and get that in there, and my wife used a hand mixer to do this, but I'm just going to try mixing it with a spoon and see how that comes out. I ran just a little bit of warm water over my cream cheese before I opened it, just to soften it up a little bit. I'm going to just kind of break it into little chunks, and hopefully that'll make it easier to mix up. I'm just mixing this up with a regular spoon and doing it by hand. And I will say it's not the easiest thing to mix by hand, but I'm hoping, all those lumps will just melt and it'll all melt together once it's in the oven anyway. I guess we will find out. Mixing this by hand is kind of hard. As you can see, there's still a lot of lumps in it, but I'm just going to go ahead and pour it in pie crust that way and see how it turns out. Maybe I should have used a mixer, but I wanted to see if it would work doing it by hand for, people that don't have a mixer. So I'm just going to put it in the pie crust and get it in the oven now. Now I'm going to bake this in a 300-degree oven for 55 minutes. And you can see there's still a lot of lumps in there, but hopefully it'll turn out. While cheesecake's cooking, I forgot to mention this. This can of cherry pie filling is going on top when it's all done. Now that's optional. If you don't like cherries, you don't have to use that. This has been cooking for 30 minutes and it smells really good, so I'm just going to rotate it 180 degrees because the back of the oven gets a little hotter than the front. So just going to put it back in like that, and we'll be back in another 25 minutes. This has been cooking for about 50 minutes total now. And you know what? I think that's done. It said 55, but that looks good to me. I'm going to shut it off. And I'm supposed to let it cool for an hour or two before I put the cherries on. So I'll let it cool, then I'll put the cherries on, and we'll come back and see if I did good or not. Well, there's how it looks when it's all finished. Now I just have to cut a piece and taste it and see if it's any good. Well, I managed to cut a piece and get it out of there without destroying it, and I think it looks pretty good, but let's taste it here. I have to say that turned out pretty darn good. I was kind of worried about all those lumps in it. I didn't know if it was going to be very good or not, but it all kind of melted together and it turned out really good. Thanks for watching, you guys, and I'll talk to you next time.